Okay, we're ready. Good evening, and everyone. Welcome to the West Covina City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 2nd. This is our regular council meeting, and we will first begin our meeting by the invocation, which will be led by Officer Jeff Mosley with the West Covina Police Department, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by our council member, Andrew McIntyre. Please rise.
Recently in Arizona and gave their lives for their community. Let us pray. God, we recognize your presence here tonight. And we thank you for the freedom we have to gather as a community in order to discuss important matters that will influence and shape the future of our city. We ask for your grace and your divine blessing this evening as we address these important matters. Lord, we pray that you will give our mayor and fellow city council members the ability to lead our city with integrity, humility, and compassion in accordance with your will. Give them wisdom and guidance as they work diligently to find solutions and address each of the difficult challenges at hand. We pray for the families of the firefighters in Arizona, and we ask that you give them peace and comfort during this difficult time. Bless each and every person here tonight. Draw us closer together as a community, and help us to set the example for other communities that surround us. And we ask these things through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Everybody put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Sanderson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Herford.
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Councilmember Sotelo.
Here.
Councilmember Sykes.
Here.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have reporting out from closed session, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. The record should reflect the City Council convened this evening for the special meeting for closed session, that the two items that were listed on the agenda were announced prior to recessing into closed session, that all four members, all members were present with the exception of Mayor Sanderson, that the first item, public employee performance evaluation, the matter was presented to the City Council. There was no action taken. This matter was directed to be brought back on the next City Council meeting for July the 16th. Conference with real property negotiators on that matter. The City Council received a briefing on this matter, provided direction, but took no final action, and there is nothing further to report. That concludes my report from closed session. It is appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting at this time.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. City Manager, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
No, there are no changes to the agenda
Okay,
tonight.
great. Thank you so much. And at this time, I will come forward for we have a presentation, which July is Parks and Recreation Month, and I will come forward and we'll do that presentation. Thank you very much. I think all of you know that live in West Covina that we have an amazing community with some amazing parks. And with that, I'd like to call Chris Freeland forward to come and talk a little bit about all the different things we're doing in West Covina and to accept this Parks and Recreation Month proclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. On behalf of the Community Services Department, I'd like to thank the Mayor and the City Council for their continued support of our Parks and Recreation programs. For many of you don't know, we have 16 parks in our community, over 127 acres of land that's dedicated to parkland in our community. We also do the Ridge Riders Equestrian Center, Cameron Gymnasium, the Senior Center, Shadow Oak Park, Orangewood, roller hockey arena there, and a variety of different special events that we do as well. This year, it's a very special occasion to receive this proclamation because of the continued support of this City Council. Last year, we did some major park improvements at both Palmview and Del Norte Park. At Palmview, we redid some playground equipment there. Del Norte Park, we put the city's very first dog park in, the city's very first splash pad in, and then put in a brand new park, so reminding me of my childhood here in West Covina, going to Covina Park where they had the rocket ships over there. So it was a lot of fun for us in community service to have those type of dedications this year. So we want to thank the council for their continued support of those programs as well. Now, we talked briefly about special events. I'd be remiss if I don't announce a few of the summer events we have planned. Of course, this coming Thursday, we have our 4th of July celebration. We start at 8 a.m. with a pancake breakfast for $5 provided by the West Covina Elks. I know John Hughes is standing over there in the corner. We have the carnival celebration as well. That begins at 3 o'clock on the 4th of July. And then we have the fireworks show and entertainment. Entertainment starts at 6 o'clock with entertainment provided by the rock band Thief. 9 o'clock will be the fireworks show. So we're expecting a very large attendance and a lot of fun. And the carnival actually will start tomorrow afternoon as they start to get the rides vamped up for everybody on the 4th. And for those of you who are movie buffs, tonight is the second night of our movies in the park right outside our council chambers here in the courtyard. Tonight we're playing Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, in partnership with the Greater West Covina Business Association, next Thursday, July the 11th, we start our summer concert series here at City Hall. So there's a lot of stuff planned, and we're happy to announce that this will also be the first year the city will have its own food truck festival. That'll be on Saturday, August the 17th, in partnership, again, with the Greater West Covina Business Association. So we have a lot planned for this summer, and we thanks again for all your support.
Thank you, Chris. And thanks to staff and to the community, because we have some of the most beautiful parks. We really do. And not only are they beautiful, but they're safe. You know, having children of my own, and I go to the parks, and it's a place they can go that's clean and safe. And so it means a lot to us as residents as well, and to thank the council for all their support in providing such a wonderful community of West Covina. So thank you, and congratulations on the proclamation. Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have our oral communications, and I would like to briefly let everyone know, if you have not been here before, we have our yellow speaker cards, and they're at the top of the stairs, and you fill those out and hand them over here to the city clerk. And we do have a 5-minute speaking limit where you can address the council on any items within the city's jurisdiction. Our laws do allow the public to address us per the Government Code Section 54954A. However, when you address the council on items that are not on tonight's agenda, we are prohibited from fully discussing any of those items as listed in that government code section. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that, because one of the things I want to make sure is that we do want to work to resolve any issues that you may have, but understand that we are limited in what we can say other than what's on tonight's agenda. And we'd also like to make sure that if we can direct you to the proper staff member, or you can contact us at 626-939-8401 so that we can assist you with any concerns that you may have. When addressing the City Council, also according to our Municipal Code Section 248C, I'd like to remind all speakers to address all comments to the council body. And the reason I ask for this, because you guys will help me in assisting me to do my job, to keeping decorum of our city meetings and to make them as pleasant as possible, and to get our city's business taken care of in the best timely fashion that we can, so that we can all get out and get to our families. And most of all, I'd like to make sure you all feel very welcome to address us with any concerns that you may have. So moving forward with our oral communications, again, our first speaker is Carolyn Arndt.
Arndt. I've lived in West Covina since 1957, and my address is 1406 South State Main. I am here to alert you of our notice of intent to circulate a petition for election codes 9200 and 9226. And I'm going to read it, though normally I don't like to read. I like eye-to-eye contract. Attached to this letter is a notice of intent to circulate petition and written text of the initiative. This letter and its attachments constitute a filing of the proposed measure 9203. We request that a ballot title and summary be prepared. Section 9203A states that you shall immediately transmit a copy of the proposed measure to the city attorney. Within 15 days after the proposed measure is filed, and that's today's date, the city attorney shall provide and return to the city elections official a ballot title for and summary of the proposed measure. The ballot title may differ from any other title of the proposed measure and shall express in 500 words or less the purpose of the proposed measure. Please note that the Elections Code does not state the city council or city attorney can reject or ask for revision. Our initiative is in plain, simple language that any voter can understand and doesn't need many revisions. It is up to him to summarize and title the proposed measure in such language that the ballot title shall neither be an argument nor likely to create prejudice for or against the proposed measure. After the city attorney returns the ballot title and summary within 15 days, that's 9203, we plan to explicitly carry out 9203 through 9205, which among others requires publication of the notice of intention, title, and summary in a newspaper of general circulation. And additionally, we intend to carefully follow California election codes 9200 through 9226. In closing, this letter and attachments are to meet the requirements. And here is the notice of intention statement. Notice is hereby given by the persons whose names appear hereon of this intention to circulate a petition within the city of West Covina for the purpose of requiring voter approval prior to the development of public land areas specified by the initiative. The committee, Citizens for Voter Approval to Sell Public Land, intends to place on the June 2014 ballot a citywide initiative with the following verbiage: in order to sell or lease any land in the Civic Center which is a property bordered by West Covina Parkway, Sunset, and Garvey Avenues, a majority of West Covina voters must approve the transaction at a regular election. And these are the three reasons for this proposed action as contemplated in the petition. Number one, open or green space is sparse and limited in the city of West Covina. The Civic Center belongs to all of the residents of West Covina, and they should have the right to decide whether a sale or lease of a portion of the Civic Center is worthy. And number three, any use of the Civic Center should have the purpose to serve the greater good of West Covina rather than any narrow special interest group. This committee has been supported by these mayors. Roger Hernandez is the assemblyman. Kathy Howard, they're in alphabetical order. Kathy Howard, Nancy Manners, Brad McFadden, Richard Melendez, Mike Miller, Forrest Tennant, and Ben Wong. All of them are in support of this. And here is the text, and I kind of really read it already, but I'm going to read it one more time because I have time. To sell, lease, or rent any portion of land to a private party in the Civic Center of West Covina, which is a property bordered by West Covina Parkway, Sunset Avenue, and Garvey Avenue, a majority of West Covina voters must approve the transaction at a regular election. Now, this would have been presented by Shirley Buchanan. She's with family.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, it's Peter
I-
Sealer, 5 minutes.
I beg your pardon? Oh, it's
You have
time?
exceeded your 5 minutes
Okay, I'm
now.
done. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Lloyd Johnson.
Good evening. Lloyd Johnson, 40-year resident on the northwest side of West Covina. Council members, under the consent calendar number 3, it is illegal for our city to okay a project to a developer who has a suspended state license. I told the Planning Commission WC Homes LLC license was suspended before they voted to okay this project at 1611, 1623, and 1773 San Bernardino Road at the Planning Commission meeting on 6/25/13. I turned in proof that their license was suspended. They didn't care. Only Chairman Holtz asked a question about the license. He voted no on the project. This council should void their action and make them reschedule it when the developer has his license up to date. I don't see how our city can tell a developer it's okay to do business in our city without a current state license. That's what the Planning Commission did. You would think our planning director would have known that and made them hold it over until the current license was issued by the state. The developer made a statement that he was unaware his license was suspended, that they would take care of it. As of June 28th, they still haven't taken care of the suspended state license. No excuse. A developer, like any contractor, should always know of their state license is in good standing with the state. Councilmember McIntyre, as a developer, you of all council members should know if your state license is in good standings with the state. It doesn't matter if the licenses are current now. They weren't when the Planning Commission okayed this project. Why is our city doing business with a developer who doesn't have a valid state license? A few years back, our council dropped the Boys Club from doing the graffiti because they didn't have a state license. There isn't any difference between them and this developer. If you don't reverse the Planning Commission's decision, you're opening yourselves up for another lawsuit. Also, I would like to know where are the names of the 117 residents who signed a petition against this project I turned in to the Planning Commission. Why aren't they in the proof report of these minutes you are being asked to okay? The minutes are incomplete and should not be accepted here tonight. Also, I was told by Chairperson Holtz he never saw the paper I turned in proving WC Homes LLC license was suspended. Where did it go? Next, I would like to ask Councilmember Herford one question. If he will answer it, I will accept his answer. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have to ask it. Councilmember Herford, did you have lunch with 3 of our planning commissioners before the last Planning Commission meeting on the 25th of June? I was told by a very good friend that you did. I don't know how they knew, but they were very sure it was you. Please clarify for me if I was misinformed. Next on the agenda, number 5. I really don't see a problem with our department heads asking for a 2% pay raise. I would be offended if the same 2% raise went to our city council. Our city council should make sure any benefits they receive are separate from the department heads of our city. No full-time benefits for part-time work. Each one of our council members were elected or appointed to this council. The 3 that were elected by the residents, when elected, understood they were elected to represent the best interests of the residents of West Covina. Maybe the 2 council members that were appointed don't understand. The residents of West Covina interests should always come first over development and special interests. Over the years, a few council members have forgotten who they should be representing. Instead of our residents, now it's developers, special interests, and themselves. I'm excluding Councilmember Sykes from this list because I know he's aware of who he represents first. It seems the residents have been put on the back burner. We need to change that. We need to put our residents first again. I hope the new council majority in November will understand that and move our city in the right direction and restore the trust that has been lost in our council. Last, I am still waiting for the 4 answers I asked at the last council meeting from our city manager. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. George Ogden.
Good evening, council and staff. George Ogden from West Covina. This is more of an FYI and of one of our employees here in the city of West Covina. It'd be about Rudy Lopez. He's with the West Covina Police Department, and he's a public information officer for our city and police department. Some of you may know that 2 months ago, Rudy was proud that he bought a brand new motorcycle 2 days ago, I'm sorry to report that Rudy Lopez and his wife were involved in a traffic accident involving that same motorcycle. I left Rudy Lopez just before I came to this meeting. He's still in the hospital at Kaiser Permanente, and so is his wife. His wife was undergoing surgery at the time that I was talking with Rudy. Rudy sustained serious injuries to his right wrist. It has been fractured with a compound fracture actually coming out at the elbow. It's been pinned back together. He has one more operation to go on that. Rudy also sustained a broken shoulder and a dislocated shoulder. His wife had a crushed left foot, I believe was what it was. She's already been pinned, but still undergoing her operation while I was still there. And at that time, she was just coming out of surgery, so I don't know how well she's doing. And in talking with Rudy, I wanted to let him know that I thought it would be only fair to share with everybody that knows Rudy and has been friends with Rudy and basically his family that he's doing well. He seems to be in pretty good spirits. And if he'd appreciate anybody that you did want to come by, he's in room 5058 at Kaiser Permanente in Baldwin Park. He's requesting candy bars. Bring a lot of them, because the next time I see him, whatever's left over is mine. So Rudy wanted to wave his hand and let you know that he's doing well under the conditions, and he's hoping all of you are doing well at the same time. Thank you very much for allowing me this time to go ahead and make this progress report on Rudy.
Thank you for that. Our next speaker is Philip Marino.
It is time now that item
It's not a public hearing, so the time for the speaker is now.
Members of the City Council, members of the city staff, and members in the audience. My name is Philip Moreno, and this is directed to the West Covina City Council and all West Covina taxpayers. The subject: the City Council should not get the same benefits as West Covina City department heads. Item number 5 on tonight's agenda reads, Fiscal Year 2013-2014 Department Heads Employment Agreement. What that title does not tell you is that the City Council members will get the same benefits that the city departments will get with that agreement. The first attachment to this statement is an email sent to me by the City Clerk dated June the 5th of 2013. That email states that the City Council voted to pass 2 resolutions in the year 2007. Resolution 2007-66 states that the City Council shall be afforded all benefits provided to the city department heads. Resolution 2007-65 states that the deferred compensation benefit that the department heads receive will also now go to the City Council. The second attachment to this statement is a San Gabriel Valley article titled, Our View. It's an editorial comment titled, Stop the Unemployment Checks to Former Council Members. I would like the taxpayers of West Covina and our City Council members to listen to part of what is said in that article. Quote, it's clearly an outrage that Nunez, who was a Rosemead City Councilman who put in for unemployment benefits, it is clearly an outrage that Nunez could claim serving on the City Council was his, quote, job, and then collected unemployment benefits after being turned out of office by the electorate. It's an affront to the millions of Californians who are truly out of work through no fault of their own and struggling to pay the bills. It's a claim Dutton, who is Senator Bob Dutton out of Rancho Cucamonga, rightfully calls a highly offensive, it's highly offensive to taxpayers. Unfortunately, not everyone serving on the City Council, and we do mean serving, not working, takes this essentially volunteer commitment seriously. Some just want to wring every perk and per diem out of the city, and the taxpayers be damned. Serving the public is a hard concept to some to grasp. Any compensation offered, council service in our area is never intended to be a full-time job, is a thank you or a reimbursement for expenses. Later in the same article is the following statement. Rosemead Mayor Maggie Clark, one of the true public servants in our region, said it well. Quote, "It's very important we get this on the record very clear so that there is no misunderstanding. We are elected as public servants. This is not a job. This is not about a salary. This is about public service." Mayor Sanderson and Councilman Herford voted to pass both of the above-mentioned resolutions. Tonight, this council can correct what is wrong with both of those resolutions passed in 2007. First of all, West Covina department heads should not be the collective bargaining group for the benefits of the City Council. Secondly, who advocates for the West Covina taxpayers when bargaining with the city's department heads? If you're going to give them the same package, of course you're going to give them the farm. You get the same deal. And third, city staff members work 40 hours a week or more for their benefits. How many hours does a council member give to the city after going to his regular day job? 3 members of this council are up for re-election this November. So each of you can do the right thing and vote to revoke resolutions 2007-65 and 2007-66. I didn't put one thing in there, I just found it later this evening. This is an LA Times article titled, "Bell Paid $1 Million to Boost Officials' Retirement." It's dated March the 5th of 2013. One of the last paragraphs in this reads, Kevin Dugan, West Coast Regional Director for the International City/County Management Association, said that although it's not unusual for a city to pay employees deferred compensation, he had never heard of a city paying for an elected official's compensation for deferred comp. That ring a bell? That's out of the Bell scandal. Are we the same? Elected officials getting deferred comp paid by the city? Jesus, I hope not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jerry Portress.
Good evening. I've been a homeowner in West Covina in 2 different places in West Covina for the last 20 years. And I was attracted to West Covina because it was just a nice, ethnically diverse, middle-class suburb city located in the San Gabriel Valley where I grew up. The homes and lawns were maintained. There was a decent balance between multifamily, single-family residence, and Section 8 or low-income housing. The traffic in the area was not a problem. Today we're a city in transition, and the city planning minutes is what caught my attention. For the last 10 years, I've been increasingly concerned about the multifamily dwellings, the condos, the apartments, and everything coming into the city. Now, I'm a retired public sector manager that dealt with AQMD, SCAG, and all of them. My master's degree is in public administration. My understanding is different. There is a trend now to have us live very congested. That's one of the best management practices. And what it means is that the middle class is being squished. When I read a couple weeks ago in one of our local papers that West Covina was a city in transition from a middle class to a working class neighborhood, I agree, it is. When I drive around this city, I see grass hanging over into the curbs, weeds a foot high, dead grass, paint peeling off of garages and windows. And I'm not going to say that I go everywhere in the city, but I started looking more and more and more, and it's all over the place. Some houses have boats. I don't have a problem with a boat in the front of their yard. I have a problem with all the junk sitting around the boat for weeks. Around the corner from where I live, there are old furniture has been sitting at the end of the driveway for a year now. Okay, I thought originally it was for the pickup. Now, why I tie this to the other is that our city is short on staff to do routine things. Bringing in more homes means more requirements are going to be called of our police department. The public sector all uses ratios and formulas to do things. Librarians, X amount to the residents or the students. Police response calls. When you bring in another unit of 100 people or 100 units, that's not going to be 100 units or 100 people. Each of those residents is going to have more. The traffic is so bad from when I first moved here, I stay away from the mall. I go elsewhere in the San Gabriel Valley. And I really think my tax dollars should be spent here. The only time I break that is I go to the Home Depot in West Covina if I'm making a big purchase. Otherwise, I shop Covina. This city doesn't have the resources to maintain the quality of living for us here, but we want to keep bringing more and more and more people in. Please, hold a moratorium on this. I know you need the taxes. All cities, all agencies do. While I may or may not agree with something, come November, we're probably going to be voting on reducing Prop 13 thresholds so that the cities can vote more. As you're looking at these things coming through the pipeline and building, please don't, right now, add any more density living in this city. Have the volunteers drive around the city and look at these houses that are really bad. This is not going to stay this way, and that's going to affect your property values as well as mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is John Shoemaker.
Thank you. The other day, I was looking at a prior year's financial reports, and it had a lot of information that I thought was interesting. One of the things that I noticed in there was that the West Covina Unified School District is the second largest employer in West Covina, right behind Queen of the Valley. And I was wondering, well, I know what doctors and people like that make. I was wondering what, the elected leaders of West Covina Unified made. Looked at their operating budget, which is larger than the city's. They make $475 a month versus $751 for, there are $750, something like that for council members, I believe it is. I said, okay, well, they do serve a bigger area, in the sense that there's, 116,000 people. The school district serves about half that. So we said, well, how many employees are there? There's, 380 some employees in the city. The school district has 1,100. City council gets deferred comp after they've been here 5 years of something close to $800. School district, nothing. So, well, let's look at other things that might be there. The amount of people that are served. Well, the school district serves around 12,000 students every day, going through their facilities. I don't think 12,000 people a day come through City Hall. City Council gets full paid medical. And if they don't take the $1,100 for medical, they get $600 in deferred comp. School district gets nothing. You look at, the number of facilities. They have 14 schools that they have to keep track of. The city doesn't have 14 locations that it's keeping track of. But they get a car allowance of $300 a month. School district gets nothing. Well, it's an educational system, so, probably those school board members need to go to classes, once in a while to learn things. Their tuition reimbursement is nothing. City council gets $1,200. Well, let's take a look at the retirement. All except only one member of the school board, because he refused to give that up, will get any sort of retirement when they leave, no matter how long they've served. City council, if they serve 5 years, will get a certain percentage of their salary once they hit a certain age for the rest of their life, plus a special retirement. School board gets nothing. So when you sit down and look at this, you have to wonder, why is it that the entity and this goes pretty much the same for Covina Valley and the others, who serve more people, have larger budgets, more responsibilities on a day-to-day basis, are pulling in close to $2,000 or more a month for a part-time job. You know, they'll say, oh, we spend a lot of time on other things. Well, they have the same number of meetings. Matter of fact, looking back over the last couple of years, they've actually had more meetings than the city council has. So it can't be the number of meetings. Well, we go to openings and things like that. Well, the school board members go to back-to-school nights for all those schools, and they go back to open houses also. So there's 28 additional times that they'll go to these different things. They go to graduations at the 3 middle schools. They go to the graduation at the 2 high schools. So if it's the effort, it seems like those numbers would be completely reversed. Now, we're not even talking about the kind of money that if you serve 5 years, you're going to be getting. You know, you walk out of here with deferred comp, and then when you hit a certain age, you're going to be getting retirement for, what, next 20 years, you know, 25 years. That will equal, you know, a couple $1,000s a month. You know, it's pretty good to get a job that you claim only pays $750 a month, and, you know, will walk out with $500,000 in your pocket over your lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Elsie Messman.
Council, staff, and everyone here tonight. My name is Elsie Messman, and I'm a resident of West Covina. I have a problem with the Planning Commission. Last Tuesday, I attended the meeting, and the minutes do not reflect what happened. Anyone should know if WC Homes did not have a valid license, this project should have been stopped in its tracks. Also, Lloyd Johnson turned in 117 residents to oppose the project. I guess it doesn't matter what the people think anymore. You just put a moratorium on 79 homes, and now you want this project approved. The 4 planning commissioners that voted for this project are told what to do by a few members of council, past and present. They are given a rubber stamp, so when a curve is thrown, like 117 residents' signatures and no license, they don't know what to do. These 4 people do not deserve to be on the Planning Commission. They are not only not qualified and should be removed immediately, as they are doing a disservice to this city. Mike Toohey has reported on his 700 forms that he has an option to buy a condo at 1773 West San Bernardino Road. Something spells rotten here again. Mr. Toohey, you are no longer on the staff. Come down and sit with the rest of us and stop hiding. At a time when finances are as such, why are we even considering raises? Just be thankful you have a job. How many employees have lost their job? You should be ashamed of yourself for even asking. You should be taking a cut. Contrary to what some of the council thinks, it has been and have been on the council for so long, we still have a democracy, not a dictatorship. And I also don't shop in West Covina for the same reason, traffic. I said in order to get to the West Covina Shopping Center, I can get to and do my shopping in City of Industry, Walnut, whatever. So my tax dollars are not being spent in West Covina, and I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bruce Leinbach.
First of all, I think we should recognize this July 4th as a great day, birthday of our country, and also remember this year is a real important date. 150 years ago, the Battle of Gettysburg was fought. My grandfather great-grandfather fought in the Civil War, fought in the Battle of Atlanta. And fortunately, the Union, won and our country prevailed. But give you a perspective of Gettysburg. In those 3 days, between 40 and 50,000 people were killed, about the half the size city of West Covina. Also, the country suffered 7,000 people lost either through disease, killed in combat. 600,000. The population was 30 million at that time. You take that in perspective, that's comparable if you take our population today, which is 10 times comparable of 6 million being killed in a war. Unfortunately, that has never happened. But just recognize what a great impact the Civil War has had and that the Union prevailed in the Battle of Gettysburg. Main reason I'm talking about, again, is, one of them, is exorbitant attorney fees. We have these lawsuits pending, and particularly about the library, the land, the city land is going to be sold to a developer and develop medical condos. We're in the midst of a lawsuit that's going to extend extensively into the future and cost the city a lot of money, and I feel we will not win. Also, another one involved is 80 lots that were up in the South Hills area. I live in that area. They've been there for 20 years. Decided to say change the building requirements. There's a lawsuit pending there. There's other lawsuits. In other words, sometimes we're going to blame the attorney for defending this, but the attorney is, he's working at the direction of the city council, and the city council makes the decisions who to sue, how long to prolong, and I think our past history, the amount of attorney fees, that we've been way off base. Also, I hear there's going to be a study being made on the feasibility of whether our fire department should be basically merged with the county. And also I heard there's going to be another talks about the police department being merged with the sheriff's. I don't know, that's somebody told me. Basically, I like local control. I prefer our fire department to stay local and our police department. But I also understand you got to look at the viability, financial viability. And bottom line, I want local control. If you decide to make a decision and you get a study, I feel that a vote by the council should not decide whether we merge our police department or fire department with the county. It should be a vote decided by the people, not by the city council. So if it gets that far down the road, the majority of people should decide about our police and fire in the future. Thank you, and happy 4th of July.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is John Hughes.
Good evening, Mayor Sanderson, members of the council, staff, citizens of West Covina. Hope we're all looking forward to the 4th of July. As Chris Freeland said, pancake breakfast. The rides are being set up as we speak right now. And I hope everybody comes out and has a great time, and thank you all for your support. I wanted to talk about the item number 4, the lease of the City Hall to the Greater West Covina Business Association. Ever since we lost the Chamber of Commerce, we need somebody to represent us. I've been a citizen of West Covina since 1959, so I've been here for a while. 4th of July is the greatest event that the city has ever had, and since we lost the Chamber of Commerce, we need an organization to represent us. GWC is that organization. They're very instrumental in the 4th of July, the summer concerts. They bring businesses together in the city, and I hope you will vote to lease them the office space so they can meet various businesses that come here. And so I really hope you'll support them and approve that lease. They're a great organization, and we need somebody like them. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Betty Valles.
Good evening, Mayor and the staff. I wasn't going to get up and speak, but as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all this negativism that's going on, I just decided I had to get up and speak on behalf of the staff and on behalf of the council. I'm very proud of the council. I'm very proud of have been able to help all of you on your campaigns. I have never, in all the years that I've been living here in West Covina, and it's been 35 years now, the same people that keep coming every council meeting, they never speak of anything positive. They never speak of anything, how to help the city, how to help the council. Everything is so negative. You know, you get tired of listening to this. You have the minister come in here and give us a prayer, and he's saying, you know, respect each other, appreciate what we have, and yet the same people keep coming every council meeting, degrading, and I can understand, you know, it's freedom of speech, but there is such a thing as politeness, not rudeness. If you disagree, you disagree. But please don't be so disrespectful. And another thing, as far as about the Planning Commission saying that we're inexperienced, well, that was about me, because I am part of the Planning Commission and I'm very proud to be able to serve. And if I voted for the construction of those condos, it's not because of I'm inexperienced. It's because of the fact that that area has been so abandoned in the past 10 years. And I voted for it because I want something good, something for the city. And if I voted for it, it's because I care about the city. Not because I don't care for the city, not because I don't know what I'm doing, but it's because I care for the city. Yes, Lloyd, it's true. I am not your neighbor. I do not live there. But you have sat at my table. I have advised you on your campaign, and yet you turn around and degrade me. I think that is very bad of people to do that. If you disagree with me, approach me and talk to me like a human being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That does conclude our oral communications at this time, and I did write down the concerns that have been brought forward, and I'll address them the best that I can, and council can step in if I have not, if I've missed something. Again, thank you everybody for coming. This is how we, you know, communicate with each other and work together, and we try and do that with the utmost respect for everybody. With that, there was a speaker that did talk about the housing. And I would briefly like to ask staff, I know we don't have it on the, you know, this information with us tonight, but one of the things that we do have is a state mandatory additional housing requirements. And I don't know if briefly, because there was a couple speakers that did talk about the overcrowding, and, you know, I love West Covina too. We want to try and strike a balance, but however, we do have laws, and I believe it's every year we have to approve our housing element. Chris, could you be able, either Chris, kind of touch base on that briefly so that the residents can understand that requirement?
Well, I can have Jeff Anderson speak more to that, but you're speaking of the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, which identifies housing that essentially requires the city to look for ways of developing more housing within our city. And if I can have Jeff come up and explain a little bit more about that.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me put you on the spot briefly, but I just, you know, I know it is an agendized item, so we can kind of talk a little bit about it.
The manager said there is a requirement called the Regional Housing Needs Assessment that's done before a housing element procedure is started. So we did adopt, the city did adopt a housing element last year. They're required to periodically, it used to be 5 years, now it's about 8 years. So we're working on another one that will last through 2021.
Oh, correct, and that is via the state's requirement.
That's the state's requirement.
State's requirement.
We adopt that,
okay,
yes.
fantastic.
And we have to meet In order to have that adopted and certified by the state, we have to comply with those regional housing needs numbers.
Right, right. And I know, just a kind of a comment, years ago, I was going over some meeting minutes, and I noticed I voted no on it. Not that it did any good, but it is kind of just something we have to do as a city and incorporate that as well. So I appreciate you coming forward on that. Thank you. Then we'll drop down. We had, I guess we could talk about it if, it's on consent in reference to some, one of the residents asked about some city manager questions. There were 4 questions. Maybe you have a brief response on that.
Yes,
Mr. City
that has
Manager.
been forwarded to the city attorney's office, and I believe that we will need to follow up with him for those responses.
Fantastic. So the resident knows that we will be working on that as well. Pardon my notes aren't as good. I'm having trouble seeing again. On the state license information, I don't know if that can be something that we can just bring up when we talk about that subject. There was a mention of a state license not being.
Yeah, I
That's
think.
all I have.
I don't know if Jeff, you can speak to that.
Do we
whether
want
that's
to
required as
pull
part of
that
this-
item, or, I mean, is
Well,
that on the
you're
consent?
talking about minutes here that
Correct,
you're,
okay.
that you're reviewing. You're not viewing any actions or approving any actions
Okay.
of the planning commission.
Sorry, Jeff. Mr. City Attorney, is this an okay purview? I want to.
Yes, and I should note, just so it's clear, the minutes are not expected to be a word-for-word verbatim of the conduct of the meeting. They are a summary. They are merely intended to be a summary. So the minutes that are presented before you this evening on that topic are full and complete for your consideration and approval.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you again for coming down.
I also want to be clear that what's before you tonight in item 3 is not the minutes, it's the summary of actions. Summary of actions is a very summarized statement of sort of point by point what happened. It doesn't go into any discussion topics. The minutes do that, but the minutes aren't before you tonight. We provide you the summary of actions because they're quicker, faster, they're done immediately after the meeting is done so that you have that in your next meeting. So the minutes there'll be information in the minutes that aren't in the summary of actions in your packets tonight.
Okay. Everybody got that? Okay. Councilmember Sykes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Regarding the doing business without current license, if we could please, if we're not prepared tonight, going forward, can we disclose to the public the city policy on doing business with companies without a license?
Yeah, if I may, Madam Mayor, it may be a different issue. The issue is, as I heard the speaker, maybe I didn't hear correctly, was the allegation that the developer does not have their contractor's license, and that's a different issue than a business license. But what we'll do is, if they don't have a business license here in the city of West Covina, we'll make sure that they do before they can construct.
Yeah, because I think the item on the agenda was just approving some changes
and
in
we'll follow-
housing. It doesn't have anything to do
Right,
with the actual contractor.
and we will follow up with that accordingly.
Okay, okay, because that would be not a state license as stated. It would be a
That's
city
correct.
business license.
That's
Okay,
correct.
great, thank you. Councilmember Sykes.
Also, Madam Mayor, there was some question of a document that was submitted where it was in regards to the proof that the member of the public had located. I believe that should be public information that someone should be able to prove that we still have that. And then there's also the matter of the petition of over 100 names, signatures, that there was some, again, a question of something that should be a matter of open information that I would think that the public can peruse.
Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council. As indicated by Mr. Anderson and also commented by myself, even this is a summary of the action that was taken at the Planning Commission, and even if it was in a form of minutes, it would not contain verbatim of a document. Those documents are part of the record. I'll look to Jeff and Okay, and I'm assuming and I'm sure that the answer is that they are still part of the record and they are available for public review and inspection. So they're not lost, they're not hidden, they're not shredded, they are all available for the public's review and consumption. Again, as indicated by Mr. Anderson, and it's absolutely correct, this is just a summary to keep the council informed and of action by the Planning Commission, but it is not a final set of minutes, nor is it intended to be the full public record of that matter, and nor would it be in any event.
Thank you so much. And to be clear with that this is a consent calendar item that is just approving Planning Commission meetings. We're not making any decisions at this point, is what I'm reading on our agenda item. So with that, any other comments briefly, and then we'll move on with the agenda. Councilmember Sykes.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. Regarding the information that some folks are seeking in regards to ascertaining the statements that was made approving or in support of the project versus the statements that were made against, as in opposing, in opposition to the project. Can we explain to the public where they can get the verbatim besides the internet? Is there, because you can review it on the internet, I think most people are aware of that.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, the recordings of all meetings are available through the city clerk's office. There is, of course, a fee because it requires materials to be duplicated. We do not charge for the time spent in duplicating the recording, but again, those are all available through the city clerk's office.
Councilmember Sykes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I bring this up because time and time again I encounter folks who do not have access to the internet. They have cable only at this time. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll drop down to our consent calendar. Any items
Madam
or
Mayor,
motion to approve? Yes.
Can I just address one issue before you consider that?
Yes.
A question was raised with respect to whether council's tied in with the department heads. The 2% that's been raised here tonight. I just want to address that briefly. It's my understanding that council stipend or salaries is stated and limited per state law. It is not tied in with the department head salaries that are being presented here at the 2% increase. Historically, the department heads have taken the lead on taking pay cuts during the time that other bargaining units were requesting raises, and it's my feeling as the city manager that what they are requesting is just to be in line with what current bargaining units have in their current agreements, and I just feel it's fair and equitable, and it's just something that I believe is the right thing to do for them. And they work very hard for the city. They're the leader of their departments, and they run their departments very efficient, and I don't believe it's an unreasonable request.
Thank you so much for that. I'm glad, and I think the residents can understand, to be clear, and thank you for bringing that point up. I think Councilmember Herford, Mayor Pro Tem Herford has been here, and that number has been the same for probably 30 years, I think, or more. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's not changing the 7 whatever. It's just dealing exclusively with department heads. Okay? Is everyone clear?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just let me
Mayor Pro Tem
clarify
Herford.
the salaries for City Council. When I was elected in 1990, it's the same salary that I receive today. So let me also answer Lloyd Johnson's question. No, that was an answer to that question. So, and I want to comment on Commissioner Baez's comment. Yeah, it gets old after a while. Everybody has the right to speak. I understand West Covina's changed. It changes for the good sometimes, changes for the bad sometimes, but our job up here is to make sure we're a vibrant community that offers services that we all appreciate. And sometimes people come up and say stuff that can be taken maybe the wrong way by residents. I just want residents to know there's no discussion on this council right now to contract out our police department. That's not a topic anybody up here has brought up. We are looking at County Fire to give us a proposal to see if perhaps the service is better or more beneficial to our city. So that is under purview. But it's important that we all, when we come up and speak, that we understand that rumors and innuendos sometimes can be mistaken by the public to be fact. So we need to clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add on with the county fire feasibility study that I just want to remind everyone that this council is essentially acted upon request from the fire union to consider that, and that's what we're currently in the process of doing.
Okay, thank you so much. With that, we'll go to our consent calendar. If there's no items, a motion is in order.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That is the end of our consent calendar. And do we have any, we have no reports for mayor, council member reports, or AB 1, 2, 3, 4 conference meetings. City council requests for reports, studies, or investigations at this time. Any other council comments or anything anyone would like to say? Councilmember Sykes.
Just want to if we could adjourn in the memory of the 19 firefighters from Prescott, Arizona.
Adjourn.
I simply asked the adjournment for the 19 that we lost, firefighters that we lost in Prescott, Arizona. They were based there, and they were defending the city of Yarnell, Arizona, when they lost their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all so much for coming tonight.